and this is for about 3-4 years. And we speak too about the nurses who also have to sign 2-year contracts. And when you're a public servant, you know, this is probably a lifelong profession. You're going to be in that. Can you imagine having to renew or not be renewed every 2 to 3 years? How is that responsible? How does that give anyone any sort of pride in working in a job? Right now, we're going to be giving all of that power to foreigners, and that continues to irk me. So we'll look now at the most recent, one of the more recent developments when they announced the director and everything else. Let's look at the first image where it's saying the board announces, the Millennium Heights board announces new chief executive officer and NHL consultancy to help upgrade its operations. Let's go to the next one. The Millennium Heights Medical Complex, which comprises of the Owen King European Union Hospital, the National Mental Wellness Center, and Turning Point Rehabilitation Center, has completed the appointment of the senior managing team that will be responsible for the operations of the facilities following the transition from the Department of Health and Wellness on April 1st, 2021. The Board of Directors of Millennium Heights is delighted to announce the appointment of the senior management team headed by the Chief Executive Officer, Ms. James Alexander, who is supported by Dr. Lisa Charles, the Director of Clinical Services, and Mrs. Charmaine Anthony, the Senior Manager for Human Resource. The 3 remaining members of the senior managing team, which includes the Director of Finance and Budget and the Director of Administration, will be on board in April 2021. The team will operate under the direction of the Board of Directors, which comprises of individuals with medical, legal, financial, and human resource expertise. The newly appointed senior management team will work collaboratively with the current administration of the complex and international consultants from India to assist in elevating the quality of care for all solutions in keeping with regional and international standards of best practice. And with all of that, this newly appointed, with all of that being said there, then we hear of the new director, but we're also saying with all of that, and yes, you're putting some solutions in place, but you cannot do it by yourself. So bring in the consultants and let's privatize that. And when you're really seeing that, we're not saying that the hospital will be privatized or it's in the process. It is right now privatized, and this is being done under this administration, which should be concerning to all of us. So when I'm going to say things and when we're going to see that, it's not something, you know, that we can discuss or, you know, people can say, oh, that's not true. This is what's happening now. And the issue continues to be that this should not be happening. And then you have the Prime Minister saying, okay, so what?
A projection of over $18 million on consultancies and commissions within the Ministry of Health has caught the attention of opposition leader Philip J. Pierre as he debated the estimates of revenue and expenditure for 2021-2022 that was laid in Parliament on Tuesday. Pierre questioned who was being paid these sums.
Who are these consultancies being paid to? In the Ministry of Health? Are these fees being paid to friends and foreign consultants, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, the $20.3 million over the last 3 years and the proposed $18 million to be spent for consultancies in the Ministry of Health. Consultancies in the Ministry of Health, Mr. Speaker. Well, this government continues to show contempt for local professionals who successfully commissioned the OKE hospital in 2021, not at the cost of $18 million for consultancies.
According to Pierre, these monies could have been put to better use within the Ministry of Health as the country continues to deal with its COVID crisis.
The $38.4 million that the government has spent $20 million and intends to spend another $18 million, Mr. Speaker, could be used to fund the health center in Denver North, to improve the oxygen supply at Victoria Hospital, could have a national COVID education and vaccination campaign aimed at vaccinating the entire population. It could refurbish and upgrade health centers and wellness centers and provide it with 24 hours of staffing. It could improve conditions, including equipment and medication at the OKU hospital. It could increase dialysis machines and the staffing. It could improve working conditions of nurses, doctors, and other health providers. But this government prefers to spend $18 million on consultancy for foreign consultants in the health service.
Pierre expressed his confidence in the competency and skill of professionals within St. Lucia's healthcare sector and calls on government to rescind any contracts with foreign consultants for the purpose of managing the OKEU hospital.
So government will pay for all of the salaries of the doctors and the nurses at primary and secondary healthcare. Wow. That will not be included as part of the insurance cost. Government will pay all of the utility costs. And government will pay for all of the capital costs associated to healthcare in this country.
Can you believe that? Can you believe this, man? You are privatizing the hospital because you cannot find the $52 million necessary to operate the hospital annually. Notwithstanding, you gave away $54 million in VAT collection. But you are telling the people you will pay all of those things, including the salaries of foreigners, if they work at the OKU. Can you believe this?
This is the Jeevan Jyoti English Church in Hosur, Tamil Nadu in India.
We came here for some, my wife came for some treatment at the hospital, Narayana NH Hospital.
Miss Anne, who needs to get a mammogram because the doctor says she has breast cancer and she can't afford it, Mr. Speaker. She needs a mammogram, she has to raise funds and she can't afford it. But the government can find money. The government can find money to spend. The government can find money. Mr. Speaker, he laughs. He laughs because he can afford to go to India for his health care. So he laughs.
This is the Jeevan Jyoti English Church in Hosur, Tamil Nadu in India.
We came here for some, my wife came for some treatment at the hospital, Narayana NH Hospital.
He laughs. He laughs because he can afford to go to India for his health care. So he laughs.
When members come to this house and talk about consultancy fees, $9 million, so what?
And I think for the first time in a long time, you're getting an idea of where the Prime Minister is with this when he says, so what? So what? If the Prime Minister believes, you know what, let millions of dollars go to the consultants that we do not need, but you know, if you have to give money to foreigners, let's just find a way to do it. And I think too, when you hear of the hacks that will be under the live, as they usually are, and of course I welcome you, because anything that is said here is the absolute truth. And I am not afraid of what I'm saying here. So continue to watch, and I hope you do get educated, although I can tell that many of you will not change your minds on anything, and that's okay. I'm not looking to change your mind anyway. All I am trying to do, and all I am doing, is putting it out there. So when we say that UWP privatize healthcare here, even when we don't have a national insurance, even when we don't have national health insurance, then that is the case, and that is the truth. And what would you have to respond to it? And that's for the hacks, eh? What would you have to say to that? Will you find a way somehow to blame Kenny? Will you find a way? You can already tell what will, you know, what will be said. People will just find excuses, find reasons of anything. But this is what's going on here. And if I lie, say I lie. This cannot be happening when we need assistance in all different kinds of ways, and we don't even know when we're going to get that national health insurance. They have no white paper out yet, so that means about 3/4 of the population right now remain uncovered, and we're going to have to deal with more of the issues that we're seeing here. We are privatizing healthcare, and how is that right? How is that right? And maybe as you guys are commenting, you I don't know, answer that question for me, or maybe call and let me know. And as we're talking about the whole privatization, let's look at the next image there. Because the money has to go somewhere, the money has to be spent on, like they said, salaries and the consultants. And with this one, it's also a place for them to stay. Can we get that closer? It says, with reference to the caption subject, this, the branch office, right, in St. Lucia. the Surgical Hospital Private Limited, wholly owned subsidiary of the company. With reference to the caption subject, we would like to inform you that the NH Surgical Hospital Private Limited is wholly owned subsidiary of the company, has registered a branch office in the island country of St. Lucia in Eastern Caribbean Sea. The branch office is set up with an objective to provide technical and project management and consultancy services for setting up of hospitals, services of operating and managing hospitals owned by the government of St. Lucia, and provision of incidental and allied services. We can go lower. So you're going to get a building being rented for that operation, for these operations of that that company there. And it's just to show us that when we're saying that we don't have money for anything, no money for the children, no money for people who need the economic relief, no money for the things that we need, even the ventilators. We even hear about vaccinations, more of the doses that we need, the second one. But we're going to get money to give to consultants. We can come off that now. So I think, you know, in all of this and where we are, we're going to see more of that. And I did see right before we started the show, an email was sent from Davina Lee speaking. Well, it was, I didn't have enough time to put it in, but it was just saying much of nothing, saying that there's ongoing processes with the consultancy firm as they go on with OKEU, not saying much at all. But this is where we are. We're going to be spending money on people to tell us what to do because we cannot do it ourselves, and you will get people who will say that that is right, and they know why they're saying that is right because they've read butter already. I'm speaking for the people who even now find it difficult to pay hospital bills, find it difficult to get proper health care here, and we're seeing that happening, and you'll get the Prime Minister and his minions making excuses for that to be right. But like Pip said, I think, and really talking about the people in the community on a personal level, them needing the assistance and not getting it, that is a problem and it is wrong. And the United Workers' Party administration did that. They did that. And it's a fact. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
I can't stay.
Welcome to the Entertainment Nation on steroids. UTV and Hits FM, sinking the eyes and the ears of tomorrow today. Not only can you see it, you can feel it. Airing on channel 124 or tune into radio 92.1 FM is Tresha Lionel in the morning at 11. Also airing live with Lisa and the ever controversial Revolution with Christopher Hunt. That's right, we don't do it normal. Stay locked in with UTV and Hits FM, channel 124 and 92.1 FM. UTV, TV for you.
Because of how quickly the coronavirus spreads, each new case calls for increased public vigilance. Know what is happening, understand why, and comply. Think of the protocols as war tactics. Personal protection tactics. Keep 6 feet away from others. Avoid riding the bus, gathering on beaches, in bars, and shops. Public protection tactics. Quarantine yourself if you feel fluish in case you have been exposed. Call 311 or a respiratory clinic for advice. Country tactics. Partial lockdown. Supermarkets, small grocers, pharmacies, and ATMs are accessible before curfew. Total lockdown. Everywhere stays closed 24/7 for a stipulated period. Team tactics. Don't only follow the protocols, be a protocols police. Let's win this.
Together let us win this war. Said we shall be a soldier. Together we can beat this corona.
You're watching UTV, TV for you.
I can't
Welcome back, and thank you very much for staying with us. Now, as you know, and if you've watched the show before, we always try, and we always do, I think, speak about things as plainly as we can, and we don't run away from any of the issues if we think that it is one that needs to be discussed. And we've done it before. We've had the discussion, and I got the responses, but I will continue to say what I believe on the show and anywhere else. When I did say that there seemed to be some lack of leadership in Castries Central, and the candidates, and the lack of candidates, and it seemed that things were not out there for people to understand. And with that being said, there were social media posts being made by potential candidates for SLP on Facebook, and I think some other platforms, including one from Richard Frederick, who was out, I guess, on a walkabout in Castries Central, and this is what he had posted.
Folks, this is where I built the toilets with bathroom facilities and laundry facilities for the people of this area to improve their standard of living. Ever since I left office, the situation got worse, it got bad, trees started growing, and this is what it has reduced to. A place that once had in 2011, 2012, no sorry, in 2007, 2008, there was a functioning facility right here, and this is what it has been reduced to. It is so sad. And it really shows how different persons in government who could have operated to assist the poorer people of this country have neglected them. And so it is my quest, my desire, to reinstitute the toilet facilities for the people of Conwy. They deserve better. They are part of Castries Central.
Here, Mr. Frederick, I wish you was there to help the poor people that suffer in St. Lucia right about now. Because I wanted, from the time I know I voting, I live in Grass Street from the time I'm young, and I know I voting, I have an old house. I asked all ministers for help already. None never helped me in my little shop I have there. I have 6 children, 5 without a father. A son going to Form 4, up to I can get a laptop. A tablet. I've been begging for him. I can't get that yet. I never see it so in St. Lucia. I cannot wait. My people come out because we need to move. Flabo there. I can't take it to them again. Trust me, I can't take it to them. And also there to their son, I can cook a food for my children because of what? Flabo in power. And I know if Bishop Frederick was there, I'd have eat. I would have eat. I would have eat. And just now we put sotila.
Yeah, man. And like I said, this lady is speaking, and I think in anything I appreciate people's sincerity and their passion, that kind of thing. And there are many people like her around the country who are saying, in the same way she said it, Shazanipu Sotila, Unipu Sotila, and they have that thinking, they have that feeling, and like and that's, I think, a resident of Castries Central. But with Richard Frederick and Stanley Felix, and we've had a discussion before, he too was out over the weekend campaigning and doing what he felt he had to do. That also begets a sort of concern, people being uncertain of what's going on there. And we've had the conversation before. I did speak with some of you guys. I know that there were some callers, some SLP supporters who who were saying, having their speculations. But I found it interesting too that one of the major political hacks, Minerva Ward, also had her own speculations. And you know what, like I say, we're not going to run away from anything. So let's take a look at what this UWP minion had to say. She says here, breaking news, SLP will not be running a candidate in Castries Central. So let's hear what the story is. So the story that has leaked out is that the SLP will not be running a direct candidate in Castries Central seat in the upcoming elections, despite all the pressure, arm twisting, and manipulation of Richard Frederick. The SLP is mortified of running him under their banner, since his record with them is catastrophic at best. Dr. Kenny Anthony is adamant that the worst thing to happen in in St. Lucia, politics will have nothing to do with the SLP if he has his own way. Richard Frederick has gotten the hint and smelled the coffee of SLP rejection and has decided he will run as an independent. Meanwhile, Stanley Felix is mad as hell because his one-time comrades have been giving him the cold shoulder for weeks, promising to discuss his intention to run Castries Central. In fact, more than one scheduled meeting with the head honchos of the SLP have been abruptly cancelled or a no-show by the expected negotiators. Stanley is pissed at the disrespect of so many stones he's had to hold. Frederick is seething that all his overtures to the SLP have been publicly snubbed. He's begging to lead the charge after the March 2018. His cries to Hilaire and Pip Etal to join him on the illegal motorcade in June last year, and his pathetic cry to use me on the market steps in October last year at the end of the SLP Madness March fell on deaf ears. You know what? I think that's enough. We got the point. So this is what Minerva Ward is saying, and clearly she, is just putting things out there. There's nothing to that, just to, place more doubt. But like I said before, to the viewers, to the listeners, to anyone watching, I think, if a decision hasn't been made, there's a void there of leadership, and these things do concern not Minerva, because Minerva just doing what she's doing to get what she wants to get. I don't know what's she doing that for anyway. But what's happening here with the SLP and Castries Central continues to be worrying for many people, including the SLP supporters, and we've said that before. And with the United Workers' Party now, they see some sort of position to use this and try to make some way to, make a chance for themselves. That's what they always do. But in all of that, Minerva, and we know where you stand on many of the issues. You stand wherever Shasney is, and you will try to make a way for them to sound like, they're making sense. You've done it on the few times that I've seen your Norbert show, you and Norbert in the morning show. There is nothing that you will not say to gain a few votes for the United Workers' Party. But I also want to say that it is not just the SLP who have their issues with the candidate selection. Clearly, we see the United Workers' Party having their own uncertainty too, because there are many people trying to go up for Castries South. What are you guys doing about that? You know what? Let's take a look at the first one, at the first image there, where we're hearing that Timothy Polio. Let's go to the other one. Timothy Polio was looking to run as well and try to be a candidate for Castries South. So what I'm hearing last is that he pulled out, and we have another person. Let's look at the other one. So Bertrand Birch, Big Daddy for Castries South. Big Daddy. Okay, whatever works, I guess. This person too wants to be running. So I don't know what you guys are going to be doing with that. There's a lot of uncertainty there. Are you talking about that, Minerva? Let's look at the other one. There are many, many other people who are trying to run there, and I think Buffalo is one of them, as he has, he's made some attempts there for people to give him the nod to run for the United Workers' Party. So I guess let's take a look at that.
Prospective candidate for the Castries South constituency, Buffalo Odlum, says the United Workers' Party has attracted many prospective candidates interested in running for the right to represent the constituency. He believes that it is commendable. Whenever one involves oneself in politics, he explains, one must have a purpose, and he says he has a purpose in mind.
I've been a freedom fighter all my life, and I've been a worker in terms of getting things done. When you look at the purpose, I've always been one to advocate for better regulatory procedures for us as a nation. How do you fashion a nation? How do you regulate? And also rallying support and a crusader for the arts and for the musicians and for the development of music all my life. So I don't see me as a politician. I belong to a political party, and when I canvass and I go to the constituencies, I'm not looked upon as a politician. I'm looked upon as Buffalo Odlum, the engineer, the welder, the musician, the producer, the diver, the advocate, you know. So it's really heartening. And I must say, moving around the constituencies, it's been very heartening to find out what's happening on both sides of the fence and to find out the expectations of people. We're dealing with a society that's more people-centric, that they want to see the candidate, they want to see civil society develop along with the policies of the government. They want to see more town hall-like meetings, and they're asking for more debates.
Mr. Odlum says with modern politics, the people must get proper representation, and so debating is necessary. Ultimately, he says it's the people who will determine who they want to represent them.
I think I should be chosen. I've been a crusader, I've been a worker. I've been familiar with these areas. I look at companies like Buckeye, Lucelec, they have that obligation. And Buckeye is trying to even implement some social programs. I'm suggesting that the Stanley John Odlum School, we could start some after-school programs in welding, in electrical engineering, and build a cadre of men and women workers who, like when these companies come in and I'm contracted, they're all foreigners. So we could build a cadre of local welders, fabricators, and tank specialists. That money stays in St. Lucia. So we could start training these young boys, have a polytechnic, maybe in the Stanley John Odlum School. And the same thing for Cicero. There's a history of sports there. We need to give them these facilities that they would keep flying the St. Lucian flag and encourage the younger ones. So I have a plan, and I'm going to roll out that plan.
As one of the many prospective candidates vying for the privilege to contest the Castries South constituency on behalf of the UWP at the next election, Mr. Odlum believes that he should be the chosen one.
So you have Buffalo Odlum there also wanting to run for Castries South, and I find it so strange hearing him talk about wanting money to stay in St. Lucia and wanting to develop St. Lucians, and so we won't need foreigners. You have a problem with all of what's happening in the past 3 or 4 years when all of our resources have been going outside of us, but now you have a plan to, what he's saying, make sure the money stays in St. Lucia. Oh, dia una plapusa. I think that is so disingenuous. I don't understand how people can do that. Every day you see something, and now when you want, you need something, you're going to lie to people once again. And I continue to say I don't understand how people can do that. But that's not all. That's not all. Let's go. Also, let's look at his, Let's look at the image he has, the buffalo thing, for the people to see, Let's take a look at that. It says moving with buffalo. That is his, I don't know what you want to call it, insignia sort of thing going on there. So the next person we have, of course, is the inimitable Mary Isaac. And it says, just in, Minister for Health Mary Isaac asked to step down as candidate for Castries South. For her part, she will be given a diplomatic post in Canada should the government get re-elected. So there's also, stuff being circulated about Mary Isaac. She already contested the last one and she lost. And I don't know, with everything that she has been saying, the madness that she's been spewing, people don't understand as Minister of Health, and her failure as a health minister, one would think too, why would you do that? Why would you want to put Mary there again? So you have about 5 people. Let's not forget the mayor too. People want to run Castries South and no decision has been made. I think the UWP supporters, they too are confused. But I think for many of them too, they care who. Once you're UWP, they're going to vote, I think that that's what I'm getting from them, that whoever's chosen for the United Workers' Party, that they will just vote because that's their thinking. I think that's where they are. And I think too, let's take another look at, because we're talking about speculation. We know if you can do it, I think other political people can do it as well. Let's take another look. Let's take a look at the next image where Frank Charles, and we know where Frank Charles is. He says, okay, let me give a ball by ball as to what is going down with Castries South. Alan Chastney wants Mary Isaac. For what reason, I just don't know. You can hear UWP saying Mary holding a secret, Massav. So he walked the constituency last Sunday and the people convinced him that Butch Johannes, which is brother to Max Johannes, is a better candidate with Timothy Polio pulling out. When Tim pulled out, Buffalo Andrew Odlum came back in it, but he is not getting any traction. So Alan has no choice but to have Mary step out of the race and to allow Butch a clear path. Once again, my friend Buffalo has allowed the UWP to use him. So the UWP candidate for Castries South will be Butch Johannes, but that's coming from Frank Charles. So one thing he says, I noted, is not one UWP and Mary supporter says no Mary, no vote. Likewise, Buffalo supporters, but SLP supporters, no St. Rose, no vote. No Richard, no vote. No Stanley, no vote. This shows me the UWP supporters and how they are with their party. You know what? I don't know what's going on. I too am confused with what's happening in the United Workers' Party. But more than that, I think even if we're going to be taking a look at what's happening right now, some of it is, you know, clear right there. We're seeing confusion. But people are also saying maybe the SLP and everything, the United Workers' Party has the advantage. They know what time they're going to be calling elections. They maybe can find money somewhere. They have the, you know, they have the knowledge of what's to come. And meanwhile, people are saying that they also want to see more of the St. Lucia Labour Party. They want to see more of a presence. We'll open the lines now at 572-7588. We could discuss it because I do appreciate when the callers, you know, let me know what's going on. You know, for some people, I remember, you know, months before, I was told, Tresha, you can't be naive. But then again, that's me believing in people and the trust in people. But now that's going away because I realize, especially for a particular party, it doesn't matter what happened, they are going to stand by it. And I also found it very strange seeing people like nice guys like Vincent London wanting to run for the United Workers' Party, you know, and seeing what you've seen. You know, what exactly would make you want to run for the United Workers' Party? Is it, you know, their stance on how they treat people, on how they treat the poor, maybe what Chasney has said about single mothers, or the whole mendicants statement, or maybe the jackasses thing, or maybe how they lied with the National Trust? I don't understand how nice guys like Vincent London have decided to join the United Workers' Party. And I do think I would have wanted to hear him and many others, I think, people who want to be in that. Some journalists clearly want to be part of this administration. I am confused. I am confusion. And there's a lot to be said too with the supporters there and people like Minerva and others who do not care what's happening, and she has, you know, she has the ability to just speak how she wants because she's not here. So for those of us who understand what it is, health for health and everything else, the crime that we're facing and everything, that, you know, you need people who actually understand what's going on. So no, I do not place any real importance in what people who aren't here, people like Minerva who have everything to say, but they don't know what it is to live here. And, you know, they will continue to disregard people's emotions on so many of the other issues. And even as we go on, you have to wonder too, we've had that discussion before, what will it take for people, especially within the opposition, to really come out and show themselves like others want to see, like the electorate wants to see. You can hear the passion that people have, and that they have said that they want Pip out there, they want to see more people on the ground. And I understand too for the supporters who believe that, you know, you cannot do much of anything, this is a state of emergency, you know, what can you do? But like I said, how can you play fair in a game where well, it's not even a game, this is people's lives, where you're seeing that there's an unfairness being out there with this current administration, that they will do what they have to do, that they're out there campaigning and they do not give a damn about any protocols, about COVID, about social distancing. None of it matters. All that matters is winning. So that continues to be an issue for me. And what we would want to see as the electorate, as citizens, to be given a chance to vote people and see people out there. I think we have a call. Let's take it. Good morning.
Hey, Tresha.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm good.
You know, I've been following social media, and I'm seeing some people breaking off the United Workers' Party, and genuinely so, out of concern, and have to do with the policies and the direction. Because if you are 50 years old, you have never seen what that is happening. You have never seen that before. So hence the reason that people should break off the direction that is going on. Now, some people have fallen off and they have been taunted by supporters of the United Workers' Party. And I remember seeing that blogger, big critic, Madam President, Lucia President, was a big critic of the St. Lucia Labour Party, and she has broken off. And genuinely so, I understand that. And these people, so you are seeing that there are persons out there that understand what is going on, but yet still for political and personal gain, they will stay and let the others suffer. If you talk to these people quietly in private settings, you will hear them telling you that Alan Shasta this, Alan Shasta that, the country is not going in the right direction. But yet still, on a party level, they will still support him. And that is where I'm questioning what kind of St. Lucian you are. Why would you, for a sake of a party, support a party over what is right for the country? And if you juxtapose that to a human, I like to watch the politics based on human relationship. A woman marry a man before the man cheat on him, once. She divorced already and gone. Yes, still they probably spent 30 years together even before they got married. She has lived with this man. And you tell me you cannot break off a party for the good of the country?
But don't you think that's a bit naive to think that, you know, in everybody, I think with the SLP too, that they have diehard no matter what SLP do, they will stay there, and with UWP that the same updates for them.
I'll tell you something that I've noticed with SLP supporters, Trisha.
Tell me.
Some people might call and trash me for that. But you know, for some reason I believe SLP supporters are more genuinely concerned about the country. Because they have stood up against the party, you know. They have stood up and they speak and they voice their opinions, you know, strongly against the party. I am one that stood up against the SLP, you know, in certain decisions I believe that was not politically correct and in the direction that the country should go. For example, I actually stood up against Dr. Anthony in saying that you had a policy where the gas, you put the 5 cents tax in the gas, right? And Guy Joseph, when he came in 2008? 2006. Whatever year he came there, when Civil King was there. 2011, sorry. Went back to the 150, paying the driver's license. And I said, why Dr. Anthony, which implement a policy, knowing that's the best way to deal with the issue, come back into power and don't go back to what he originated. There's nothing wrong in undoing. And he carried out it, and that was a political demise for the Labour Party, you know. That 150 back with the driver's license, not the driver's license, the vehicle license.
So you voted against him? Against the
I didn't vote against him, but I challenged and I voiced my opinion against that.
And you think that's lacking with the United Workers' Party supporters?
Will voice their opinion loudly, whereas the United Workers' Party supporters will stay quietly and just deal with that and say, that's my party, I don't want, you know, that kind of thing.
But I think maybe it's also about leadership too. I think with Dr. Anthony, whatever can be said about him, there was a freedom of expression, freedom of the press, that sort of freedom where you were allowed to, you know, say what you want. To this day, you can say whatever. Rick Wayne's been doing it for decades. And with the United Workers' Party, with the leadership there, I know personally what it is like for, you know, the Prime Minister to just shut down your question, don't answer you, ignore you completely. And also the pettiness and the vindictiveness, the fear that people have, even within his own camp, that they cannot talk against him.
Well, I have understood that there are some of these things going on, where that Alan Shasta speaks down onto these guys, and even use obscene language in referring to things towards them when he want to express himself, and they sit there. But if you talk to them in quiet and private areas, they will tell you that what Shasta is doing is not correct. but yet still they will not voice their opinion loudly in a talk show or in the media, or even say, you know what, for the sake of St. Lucia, I have to stand up for what is right.
Yeah.
Like what Miniva doing is, I don't have time for Miniva, but what Miniva doing there, it cannot be right if you say you're patriotic St. Lucian.
These people don't
Because
care about
all
right
what she's talking against, she's enjoying it in Canada. Miniva is still getting the Canadian subsidy, what they're giving for the COVID.
What's that?
The stimulus. They're still giving the stimulus package because the Canadian government give everybody their money. Miniva is collecting their monies for COVID, but yet still she don't want Alan Shasta to do it down here. So what do you want to do? You want to leave the people in poverty? The people like the Merciers and all of them, look, Trump gave them money. They're going to pick it up. Not Trump, Biden. They're going to get the money in the mail. They will take it. But yet still they're saying, we, the poor people, they depend on government, but you're getting it over in America. So we have to open our eyes and see what people is doing. So you can't get yourself confused into what these people are doing. And to say you're supporting what is right, supposed to be right in the interest of the country. And I'll speak whether it's UWP or Labour. And I've said it openly, I'm ready. And I'm more so ready for St. Lucians to give the Labour Party 12 seats. And when they get this 12 seats, Trisha, you probably might even cut me off too. I want to see changes. But I want to see changes because Alan Shasta was able to go around our constitution, around our laws. So I need to see changes in the laws so that in the future we will not have another. If we have another Alan Shasta, we will not do that happen.
Caller, thank you very much. I appreciate your contribution. Thank you. Yeah, I like that caller. But with what he's saying, I think he does have a point, that there does seem to be a different level of thinking between the two parties. And again, it's things we can discuss, things that that are out there for us to discuss. But with all of that happening, you have to wonder to the people that are suffering, the people who need the help, the people who need the assistance, what, and they're looking and waiting for a champion. You know what vibe it would be if you see, you just see Pip somewhere in, just St. Lucia, just middle of lunchtime, just talking to people. People want to see that. And even as the United Workers' Party, they have their own confusion going on, in particular with the Castries South seat. They keep it hush-hush, but they want to look at Castries Central and say what people are not doing. I mean, look at what you guys need to do before you come. And I think in all of that, in this politics thing, it really is about leadership. And with what the caller said, and I hadn't really thought of, that the United Workers' Party, they are able to say anything, and anybody can come there in silence and say, "But I don't like that," or "I don't like that man," like Stephenson King has done in his phone calls, where he says, the Prime Minister and what he's doing is madness. But when the time comes down to it, who will they vote for? In the time that you have to put the tikwa, you have to put it, or have some kind of movement, or have something, or say something. When the time comes, can they do it? And I think that, that's the question that has to be answered. Let's take our final call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Trisha?
Yes?
I'd like to make a contribution. Quickly, my credit going out anyway.
Okay.
I want to congratulate you for a job well done.
Thank you.
And I want to wish you all the best. My contribution to your program is that what is happening in this country is that our people should realize and look at the two parties. Yes, I believe there are differences between the two parties. And if they can go back to 97, 2006, 2011 to 2016, they would see the difference of the two parties, especially what has been put in place for the people, the marginalized people, and what is happening to them today. Now, if they can understand that and also give the opposition an opportunity, I believe the opposition is ready. It's just that they're letting people say and do what they want to say. But I want to believe that they are ready. That I believe things have been in place. It's just that people have to be patient and see the nonsense this administration is doing, keep people in misery and suffering, and give outsiders all the monies and let them be enriched. And we, the people in this country, are not getting the benefit. So if they can understand that and see the difference of the two parties, I believe the choice is very clear for St. Lucian to have, especially the young people and what the opposition have for the young people of the economy, young people economy, something like that, which I believe it's a very good program and for the young people especially to bring St. Lucia to another level. Thank you so very much. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, caller. I appreciate that contribution, but you know, it's just more discussions that I think we need to have with a lot of honesty and to just put it where it is, the right where it is and the wrong where it is. And I know now that there'll even be more things to play with your mind. You're seeing more ministers going out and getting TikToks or trying to be part of, you know, the TikTok dances and all little things you'll see because they're trying to get more popular. And, you know, in a sense, you cannot blame them, not even blame them, because they want to win. They want to win and they're doing what they think will give them that win. And, you know, that has to be the same throughout. People need to see that you want it. People need to see that you're passionate because they are waiting for proper representation. And like that person said, this young lady said earlier in the show, she wants a change, and Shasni Nipu Sotila, her words, and they are being echoed all throughout the country. And, you know, many people are ready. I think we've come to the end of the show. I want to thank all of you, as always, for listening and for watching. If you're watching on television on channel 124 or watching on the different social media platforms or listening to us on Hits FM, that is appreciated as always. But I think we've come to the end, and with that I want to say enjoy your day. We're starting off the work week. For many it's the work week, and if you're not working, then thank you anyway for staying wherever you are, and keep strong wherever you are. And thank you for watching us, and hopefully I'll see you same time, same place tomorrow.